Hello, everyone, and welcome. We are so excited to have you here and very much looking forward to the quick 30-minute conversation. The purpose of our call today is exploring coaching niche areas. Many coaches have that question, do I have a niche? How do I pick it, etc. So where are we going to go in the conversation? We will start first off with exploring the range of coaching niche areas. It is much bigger than we can even cover in a 30-minute time period. So ideally, as we explore the range of coaching niche areas, the intention is to get you thinking, to expand that thinking and get you brainstorming your own ideas, because your niche can be whatever is a good fit for you. Beyond exploring the coaching niche areas, we will look at the pros and then the cons of having a coaching niche. We'll talk about how to identify or choose your own niche area and how to market your niche. So with that, knowing we have a quick 30 minutes, couple of things I want to throw out. Several ask questions ahead of time. I think I've got that covered in what we're going to do. Do ask follow-up questions. And then, of course, as more questions come up, ask those. You can do it one of two ways. One is you can type it in the question panel, and then the other is you can raise your hand and I can unmute you individually so you can come in live. And I absolutely love it when you're brave enough for that, because it just makes it more fun to have more than me talking, bottom line. We do, of course, record it and put it on YouTube. So I know sometimes that's a factor for people. So if you want to come on live, raise your hand. If you want to type it in the question panel, do get your questions answered. So our first plan is to explore the range of coaching niche areas. And many of you have seen, we start listing. And of course, as soon as I do this list, more comes up. So academia is a big area. We see coaches that are specializing in working with their students, coaches specialize in working with teachers, and then of course with administrators. And that does overlap with your executive coaching. Business coaches work with the small to mid-sized businesses, career coaches. We've got executive coaching, most commonly with leaders and high potentials, life coaches, and there is a huge range of coaching within that, and then wellness. Now, here's the irony. Sometimes people consider one of these a niche area. And the reality is this is a type of coaching, and there are so many niches within this type. To give you a few examples, if we talk about coaching in the academia world, that being the type of coaching you do, niche areas include working with somebody on their high school career, their college career, their academic success, extracurricular success, athletic success. And yes, I know the type of coaching we do is very different than athletic coaching. There are coaches of the type we're talking about that work with athletes because it's all about their attitude and their buy-in, etc. Managing the classroom, if you're working with teachers, student behaviors, again, working with teachers, the teaching style, engagement in the classroom, and then of course the administration side, which starts pulling in many of the topic areas that get covered with business and executive coaching. So if your type of coaching is in the world of academia, these are a few ideas to get you thinking about, what niche makes sense for me? What niche is possible? And keep thinking, add to this list. If your focus is business coaching, working with small to mid-sized business owners, types of niche areas include entrepreneurship, business planning, startup, business growth, business administration, marketing, accounting, customer service, team building, employee development, HR, management of the business, leadership, sustainability, scalability, and saleability. And of course, we can keep going with this. Again, think about the potential What your niche is limited only by your own creativity. So expand your thinking. These are ideas to get you started. Keep going with this. There's so much more you can do. If you're in the world of career coaching, what are some of the possible niches? Think about people starting a new career, changing careers, really refining and enhancing their own career path, career growth, resume writing, job search, interviewing, maximizing opportunities within their career, balancing their career with the rest of their life, transitions in careers, skill development for their career, promotions, people going after a promotion, restarting a career. Sometimes you have people that took time away, a sabbatical for whatever reason, and now they're going back in, or they're finishing up their career and they want to plan their exit. So a lot of different areas you can focus as a career coach. Hopefully we're getting you thinking here. If you are in the world of executive coaching, most commonly we see that happen with leaders and high potentials. The niche areas are tremendous. So productivity, interpersonal skills, communication is a big one, public speaking, leadership, team building, work-life balance, transition, change management, writing and publishing, results, conflict, relocation, confidence, nonprofit leadership, corporate culture, achievement, peak performance, succession planning, employee relations, staff development, morale. So there are so many types of executive coaching. And again, the niche really defines your specialization within that world. Another type of coaching is the life coaching. And we hear that so often. Well, what does it mean when somebody is a life coach? So examples of potential niche areas here: ADHD coaching, anger management, grief, divorce, dating, relationships, budget and spending on a personal level, lifestyle, legacy. You have a lot of people who are figuring that out. We've got a lot of baby boomers coming in there. Family coaching, balance, spirituality is a big one, confidence, purpose, life events, relocation. So many areas or types of coaching. One type in life coaching you saw also in the executive coaching, it does come up in many areas, and that is conflict. When that comes up in the life coaching area, we're more commonly talking about, family disputes. You may see that when somebody in the family has passed away and people are working through how to manage the estate, etc. There are any number of reasons. So a lot of different types of niches within life coaching. If you are doing wellness coaching, examples of niche areas include health, medical, nutrition, diet, exercise, fitness, wellness overall, well-being, calm, balance, meditation, relaxation, healthy habits, and positivity. And again, these are a few examples. Keep thinking. My hope is seeing the multitude of possible niche areas within the different types of coaching is opening up your thinking. Love to hear from you, just your reaction to seeing those lists under the different types of coaches. Do me a favor, type something in that question panel. Let me know, hey, yeah, I knew this, or, oh my gosh, I hadn't thought about that. So what's your reaction to that list, everyone? Give me something in that question panel. And then as you're thinking about that and hopefully typing, I will get us started on the conversation around the pros and cons of niching niche areas. Okay, actually, I got a couple of responses coming in the question panel. This is good. Thank you for this. So a couple of you are saying, I knew there were different types and I had a little bit of an idea. I've got the comment that hadn't thought about the niche within the type. So I've got a range of input there. Thank you for that. That's awesome. Good. All right. So pros and cons of having a niche area. So we're going to start with the cons. So on the con side of having a niche area, this is what people are afraid of. They say, oh, I'm afraid of getting locked in. If I say this is my niche, then I'm not coaching people in other areas. Another fear or con is of choosing the wrong niche area. You've got the fear of limiting yourself as a coach. So I want to take a moment and address these cons. So first off, in terms of being locked in, I'm going to give you a personal example. When I first started coaching, I was putting myself out there in terms of business, communication, etc. And I ended up doing a lot of career coaching. I had not defined myself that way. I simply had a lot of referrals in that area and people came to me and they wanted career coaching. So the fact that I'm promoting myself in the worlds of communication and business and conflict, does that mean I have to say no to a client in career coaching? No, it's a matter of, am I going to serve them well? What do I offer? What are they looking for? Is this a good fit? And so whether or not you're locked in, that's really a business decision you make. Some coaches say, no, I'm really going to specialize and I'm going to stay within that wheelhouse and that's where I'm going to be. And other coaches say, I'm going to define my niche and I'm going to be open to people in other areas. That's up to you. As far as choosing the wrong niche, sometimes that happens. You choose something thinking, okay, this is the niche that makes sense for me, and you get into it and you find it's not working. It isn't what I want. And you change. And there's pros and cons to that. So on the con side, if you invest in a particular area, on the pro side, you got started and you started putting yourself out there and you were moving forward. The idea of limiting yourself by defining the niche, what we find is that actually expands your opportunities. Let me move into the pro side of defining your niche for this. And by the way, in the meantime, in addition to some of the other comments, somebody asked the question, they didn't see trauma listed. Where do I see this fitting in? That can depend and vary. Some trauma is on the bullying side. And so it can be in academic or in the workplace. We see that come up. Sometimes trauma is considered on the life coaching side. It can be considered on the wellness coaching. It feels like it fits in so many areas. So if you're talking life event, I see your next comment. I'm thinking, okay, well, that answers the question. You may put that in the area of life coaching. And what's nice about it, in defining your niche, you're not required to say you're a life coach. So for example, you could say I'm a certified professional coach focused on trauma, or you can certified master coach and my focus is trauma. So you can define the niche itself and leave the type out of it. It depends on what makes sense for who you're going after. So that was a great question. I hope that question helped others think through some of the things you're thinking about too. All right, pros of defining your niche. Let's shift into that. First off, you are defining a focus for yourself, for your clients. So what happens with that is when you say, okay, I focus on communication coaching or conflict coaching, you start focusing on, okay, what else can I learn? What other resources do I want? And it helps you really tailor your own development for that. It also, when you put yourself out there in that kind of thing, hey, my focus is trauma coaching, for example, you're going to have more credibility. See, if I put myself out there and I say, oh, I'm a coach, I coach anyone on anything, which, by the way, for many of us is the case. We have a broad range of clients. At the same time, when we say it that way, it sounds like, okay, you don't really know what you're doing. Alternatively, back to the example we were just talking about, if you say, I'm a certified master coach focused on trauma coaching. Okay, now you sound like you know what you're doing. And it gives you a level of credibility that you don't have without defining it that way, which is interesting because simply by saying it. Well, and it goes back to that focus for you yourself. If you define trauma as your niche, then what's going to happen is you're going to focus your own development and getting that toolbox built up and adding resources, etc., based on that type of coaching. So it actually does further augment and enhance your efforts in terms of your coaching business. It's targeted development for you and targeted development for what you have available for your clients. On top of that, it actually serves your marketing strategy. Back to if I'm saying I coach everybody on everything, well, what does that tell you? Jack of all trades, master of none. I have no clue what I'm doing. Well, it also means I'm marketing to the whole world. How can you market to the whole world? That's too big of a pool. So when you say, hey, this is my specialty, this is what I do, that tells you who you're marketing to. And then all of a sudden, when you start your marketing and make those efforts, you can target where that effort is happening. So for example, if you do trauma coaching, you can say, okay, who do I want to connect with for referrals? And it may be you're connecting with people in the mental health profession, or you're connecting with people in religious organizations or nonprofit organizations or hospitals or whatever. You think about where the people with the trauma go and you connect with people in that space. If you say your niche is going to be public speaking coaching, well, then you're going to target people who are developing their public speaking skills. So sometimes that happens in the workplace. Sometimes you can connect with groups like Toastmasters and coach people there. Alternatively, there are groups on social media sites like LinkedIn that focus on public speaking. So you have opportunities to develop specific strategies for your niche area. Maybe you've picked up by now just this conversation on the pros and cons of niches. What we find in coaching is it does make sense to define your niche. If you're putting yourself out there as a coach and you're building a business, defining your niche is going to help you and it's going to serve your clients. So how do you actually choose that niche area? And before I start throwing this up, I'm really curious what your thoughts are. How do you choose your niche? And if you can type something in too, hopefully I've got you thinking here. And I know it takes time to type in. If you want to raise your hand, you can do that too. And let me throw out a couple of things. Think about your own experience. And this can be work experience. It can be life experience. What experience do you have that's really a big part of your life and your world? And then a second way you think about your niche area is, what are you passionate about? And sometimes your passion area is an area that you have experience in, and sometimes it's not. Now, we do see people that choose a niche based on experience and they think, oh, this is where I have to go. And there's some truth to that because you have experience and you have connections and network and that kind of thing, and there's some validity. Ask yourself, am I going to be excited about this area, this niche in the long term? And if the answer is no, I'm good for a while, great. Then think about how you develop yourself in an area of passion as well. Because when you can combine experience and passion, you've got a magical combination going on. If you're choosing between experience and passion, experience is really good for the short term because you're known, you have contacts, a network, etc. And passion is fabulous for the long term because it's something you'll get excited about. You'll be up every day excited about what you're doing and going after it and building it further. So Is there a right or wrong answer? No. Your magical combination is both. And think about what each one means to you as you're thinking about your niche area. I've got a couple of comments. So some of you are saying based on work. I've got one person said exactly what I said, expertise and passion. I've got somebody else is based on passion. So what's so funny is you're giving all three of those possibilities amongst those of you that are there. And what does that tell you? There isn't a right or wrong answer. Guess who's your own best expert? Just like we say with our clients, you are your own best expert. So go for that. I've got somebody else saying, what if you really are seeing multiple niche areas? For example, conflict, life purpose, life events, balance, etc. Great question. Love it. Thank you for that one. So let's talk about that for a second. Some of you may have heard me say I had one person in our program that said, okay, I want to do executive coaching and I also want to do dating coaching. Okay, two completely different niche areas. And we talked about that. What is the perception when you put yourself out there? So everyone on the call, if I come to you and I say, I'm a certified professional coach or certified master coach, and my focus is executive coaching and also dating coaching, what are you going to think? And we had that conversation. This person said, yeah, that could give some really funny impressions. So what they decided to do literally is have two different business cards and two different websites. Neither one of those is very expensive. And in that way, target their effort. So depending on where they were and what they were doing, the networking event or the connection on social media or whatever, they focused on the dating coaching, or in other situations, focused on the executive coaching. So in terms of defining your niche, that is going to be, number one, it's okay to have multiple. And number two, think about how they fit together. So as an example, if I say, okay, yeah, I'm in the corporate space, I do communication coaching, conflict coaching, and employee engagement coaching. Okay, those all fit together. That makes sense. And if I present it that way, you're going to go, okay, that works. If you get niche areas that are very different from each other, it can confuse the message. So when you think about niches, up to 3 can work. If you have more than 3 niche areas, it gets to be overwhelmed. You're back to jack of all trades. Now, please be aware, niche areas are not, I'm an executive coach, a life coach, and a business coach. That's completely different types of coaching. So those are not niches, those main categories, if you will. Your niche areas are within those, that separate list that we had. So first question is up to 3 niche areas. Second question is, do they work together? Do they make sense together? Or do you want to separate them? So hopefully that's answering that question. In the meantime, I got another comment, and I think this is so true. It's when you coach for a while, you'll learn what really excites you versus what drains you. And that is so true. It's back to what we talked about with the passion area. And when it's an area of passion, that's when you get the long term. So nice. Awesome input and comments, everyone. Thank you for that. Let's talk about marketing your coaching niche. So perhaps you've heard me say this. I'll say it again. ICF has done the research. What are the top 2 sources of new clients? The top 2 sources are referrals and public speaking. I say referrals, and it brings to mind immediately that idea of choosing a niche based on experience, because that's where you're going to get the referrals. That's what you're known for. And then the public speaking, that's getting yourself out there, whether you're speaking to an organization, for example, an HR organization or a business club or whatever, or you're speaking because you're putting together a webinar. We host these webinars. I love it when I have guest speakers. It means one of you is doing this conversation right now, and you get in front of our audience. So there are a lot of opportunities to go get in front of audiences with different groups or organizations or colleagues. And when you get in front of other people, that's a chance for them to find you. They see what your expertise is. They see your passion when you talk about something, and they get your contact information so they can check you out. They can follow up with you, etc. When we talk about the referrals, it's so interesting that so many people that go into coaching say, well, I'm here because I really want to help people and I want to make a difference. And then they're afraid of marketing themselves because they have this perception that if they're marketing themselves, it's not a good thing. If I may, let's throw that perception out the window. This is not about hard selling. This is about being available for the people that want your service and that are going to benefit from your service. And if you're not willing to be available to them, what's the point of being there? And I know that's a big push for people. Sometimes it's as simple as going on your social media profiles and listing what you're doing. Telling people this is what I'm doing. Even sending out an email, hey, this is what I'm doing. Does that mean they're going to hire you? No. They may not. It means more significantly that if they or someone they know is going to be served by having a coach, they know that you're an option and available. That's what the marketing is about. That's what the sales side of it is about. So how do you do it? You let your network know. Your colleagues, your friends, tell people, hey, I'm doing my coach training. Hey, I did my coach training. Hey, I'm really moving forward with my coaching business or moving forward with offering coaching services. Tell your network. Get your social media profiles going. So if you have them, great, update them. Change your title, change descriptions and where you're working and those kinds of things, and start putting information up pertinent to what you're doing. That's so incredibly important. Now, ideally, we make that easy for you because you can connect with us on all the social media profiles, and you can just take posts we have. And if you say, oh, this one's good for my group, or that's a good fit for what I'm talking about right now, you can repost it, share it, like it, etc. And it saves you having to create everything from scratch. It also shows you're connected professionally in terms of what you're doing. So for example, on LinkedIn, we say, yes, update your profile, get your title, your description, etc. And then what you want to do is you want to join groups that show you're connected professionally, so your colleagues, and join groups on LinkedIn where your ideal client is hanging out. And you want to be in both types of groups. This is going to apply also in things like Instagram. Follow people that are in the profession. Follow people that are in areas that are tied to your niche, and put information out in both ways. So it's true across all the social media platforms. Another one is targeted writing. So on your website, are you offering white papers? Are you doing a blog? Are you guest blogging on other people's websites? So what's really smart about guest blogging is you get to reach someone else's audience. For example, we put our blog out. We have about 15,000 people on our email list. So if you come and guest blog for us, that kind of thing, you're going to get people that see your blog on our site that may not see it on yours. And at the same time, now they can find you because your guest blog with us links back to your site, which actually helps the visibility of your website, and it helps you reach new audiences. You write about the topic of interest to you. So if you want to be a coach for people getting into public speaking, or a trauma coach, or a whatever type of coach, write about that topic. Have white papers available on your website and guest write in other places so that you reach more audiences. Of course, we also publish a book once a year, and all of our graduates are invited to write a chapter for that book. Again, a way to write about your niche area and to get it out there. And of course, it's really nice being able to say, yeah, I'm a published author. Here's a book with my name on the cover. So think about your opportunities there. And then your targeted speaking. Again, it's tied to your niche area. And when I going to go talk to everybody about everything? No. What is my niche? Okay, and where do I want to go talk and present based on my niche? That's what I want to do. That's what I'm all about. So think about the groups that your target market go to, your niche area, and they care about that information. And that's where you want to target your efforts for the speaking. Okay, so I realize we've used our time very quickly for you. Think about, what do you want to do about niching for yourself? Are you going to look at those pros and cons, look at how to define a niche, and choose your niche? How will you decide it? You've got that balance between experience and passion. And then get intentional with marketing yourself based on that niche. You've got lots of resources. The International Coach Federation puts out a lot of information. Of course, we seek to do that as well at the Center for Coaching Certification and our sister company, Center for Coaching Solutions. You can get more information on the ICF at coachfederation.org. Information on the Center for Coaching Certification at coachcert.com. On the Center for Coaching Solutions, also on the coachcert.com, look at that fourth link bar there on solutions, and we're available to you there. We, of course, have our blog, new posts twice a week. The book series that we put out, these are the 8 books that we've published. We went with a new look this year. Pretty excited about that. And then, of course, these free webinars. We are available for a quick call or email if you want to do that. We also outsource. We help organizations with coaching programs, training of coaches, and then providing coaches. So what's next for you? If you want more information about some of the services we offer or helping offer those services, let me know. We'll schedule a call. And then beyond that, get intentional. What is your action plan? Review your coach training information. Be intentional with your skill application. If you've done the first level of training, you are going to put yourself out there as a coach. Go on and finish your training. Get the master coach so you can do the ICF membership, etc. Think about engaging a coach for yourself. The beauty of the network here is sometimes you can trade services, or of course we can help you find someone. And then if you want support in a coaching program internally, let us know. I am happy to hang around as long as anyone is here and answer any additional questions you have. Please get them typed in that question panel or get your hand up so I know. And then in the meantime, for those of you that do have to jump, do let us know how we could be helpful for you. I thank you for your time and your interest, and we do look forward to continuing to connect with you and be of service. So thank you, everyone. And so far in the question panel, I'm seeing comments on good thinking, thanks for the ideas, thank you, etc. So based on what I'm seeing, I'm not seeing any hands, and I'm just seeing the positive. It was helpful to you. I'm glad to see that. So let's see, somebody's got a side question. Feel free to call, email, or if you want to hang on, I'm happy to answer a side question too. If you want me to unmute you, raise your hand, and otherwise you can type it in. And I do want to, again, say all of you, thank you so much for being here. Enjoyed the conversation and looking forward to staying connected. So thank you all.